So we're waiting for Sebastian from Strawberry, and here he actually is. Sebastian, hello.
Hey, how's it going? It's good to see you.
Good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for making this happen.
Yeah.
Great having you. It's been a while.
Yes.
And a lot has happened on your side.
Yes. Are we recording, by the way?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yes. Yes, a lot has happened. A lot has happened, for sure. I mean, it's been a really hectic year at this point. But yeah, the last, let's say, 6 months have been particularly intense.
Why?
I think, okay, so we have been working like really hard behind the scenes since the beginning of last year. So that's about a year. And so to me, as like every day, kind of how much time I spent, how many hours I spend, that's been pretty much the same. But then when we launched suddenly, or we announced our funding and did a beta launch, it got really like people started knowing about us and people started caring about us in a way that I hadn't really anticipated, hoped for to some degree, because obviously we had goals with the launch, but yeah, no, it's not something I was really prepared for. So it was kind of an interesting thing to me, because suddenly, like overnight, people knew who we were and knew the name of our company, and to me it was just another Tuesday in a way. But so that has been intense because that has added additional responsibilities, let's say.
And how come this happened? I mean, there are so many founders in this world, so many entrepreneurs building the next big thing. How come this happened to you? What is the reason behind Strawberry?
Yeah, so first and foremost, like me as a founder individually, and actually Charles as well, who's the CEO, we both kind of been serial founders and done a bunch of other startups of different degrees of success. So we have been like going at it for a while and just trying different things. And the same was actually the case with Strawberry. So Strawberry did something completely different in the beginning. And so we were still in the space of the AI agents, and we were really interested in AI agents, but we were building a bunch of different types of products. One example is we did a developer tool, we did a cloud-based agent, we did a Chrome extension, so a bunch of different things. So it's a lot of iteration that kind of led us to the insight that we had to be a browser. And it was like, it was kind of like, it got to the point where we were like, we don't have a choice, which was interesting because we were there like, we need to build a browser, but we don't know if we can even build a browser. How does one even do that, right? But we came to that conclusion after a lot of pivoting. So yeah, it's a lot of like just trying to learn quickly from our mistakes and trying not to attach our ego to the previous product, because that happens sometimes.
You mean the previous product that you tried to build when developing Strawberry?
Exactly. So when you're in the trenches, right, it's very easy to try and like you spend so much time thinking about the product, so you kind of start convincing yourself of all these different reasons why it will work. And so then kind of without realizing it, it's very easy for your kind of ego to creep in and start attaching itself to a certain product. And you might start thinking things like, oh no, I can't give up because I'm not a person that gives up. But I think it's a healthy thing to know when it's time to move on to the next thing, based on things you've learned, right?
Yeah. Okay. So that sounds to me that there was a lot of trial and error until you actually ended up with the version you have now.
Yes, and we're still trying and erroring a lot, I'll say. And I think that's going to continue to be the case. In fact, I think we probably want to try to keep that as part of the company culture for the entirety of the company existence.
I think that's very wise. And at the same time, you already mentioned it earlier, you raised a lot of capital, $6 million. How did you raise that money? With the positive outlooks and expectations to build something great, or with a very specific product already in place right now, or something in the mix maybe?
When we started raising money, we hadn't even built that was before we even built a browser.
Okay.
So we had these other projects, or like there are other products that I mentioned earlier that we could show, but we did pivot kind of post racing. Yeah, I'd say, but even then, I'd say the main thing that allowed us to raise capital was a convincing founding team and high ambitions.
Wow. So it sounds like that was much more important than the product itself.
In the early stages, yes.
It is very interesting to see that you managed to raise a lot of money based on what you just said, the team and the ambitions, which I think spreads a really cool message to other founders out there in the space, in the market.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's talk more about the product for a moment. How would you define what is the Strawberry browser right now, and what problem does it solve?
Strawberry is a web browser, just like Chrome or Safari or Firefox, but it has your own team of AI agents built into it. So you kind of build your little army of assistants, and then it's up to you to teach them how to do parts of your work. So you kind of decide how you want to set up Strawberry yourself, and then we have some guidance on the way. What we're really good at today is research-based flows. So doing due diligence on companies or market research, or finding leads, prospecting, recruiting, like anything that is like going out on the web, using your accounts, like your LinkedIn account, for example, and kind of extracting information for you. That's something that we're really good at today. But then the bigger problem that we're trying to solve is to bring the power of AI agents to non-technical people. So that's the thing that actually made us go into the browser space to begin with, because we realized that there were a few different issues with the way agents were built about a year ago, which was partly authentication, that like there's this whole overhead and a lot of like setup that you need to do to be able to use your agent and to make sure they're authenticated everywhere. And the other one is that it's just pretty inaccessible to non-technical people, or it was back then, and still is to some degree. And so we felt like we wanted to make AI agents really intuitive to people, and bring the agents into the workflows and into the environment where you are already used to working as a non-technical person. So that's how we got into that originally.
And is the browser designed for end consumers or more for businesses?
It's made for professional use cases.
Okay. That's what I saw also when looking at doing some research. The LinkedIn use case, I think, is a very prominent one, and that's where you are very strong.
Yes, absolutely.
Is that a focus area, professional usage for the future, or what are the plans?
I would say that that is absolutely um, the main use case. And when it comes to like size of company, we really do want to be all over the spectrum. Um, I will say that currently it has kind of turned out to be very, very helpful for like more like small to medium sized businesses or solopreneurs, because they are often resource constrained.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So that means that there's actually a kind of hair on fire problem that we can solve for them, because like if they can save a certain amount of hours, that can be game changing. Well, if it's a bigger company that already has processes in place, then they need to actively be looking for these types of solutions, or for looking for ways to kind of streamline their processes with AI.
You are still in the beta phase right now, right?
Yes.
And you opened up for 10K users recently. What are the next plans?
We opened up for 10,000, and then a week later OpenAI released a competitor, and there was so many people that were unhappy with that product, so we actually we let in 5,000 more people,
Okay, wow.
to let in refugees from their product. um Next plans, well, we need to get to a place where we feel like comfortable to open up our beta um, to the general public. That is our next big milestone, I'd say.
Yeah. This the big go live basically?
Well, I would still emphasize that it's a beta product, but
Okay.
um, we do want to at least have an open beta rather than a closed one.
Yeah. Okay. And that again is focused on professionals and the use cases you have built. How do I need to understand this? So you have AI agents behind the scenes that you basically develop into the browser called Strawberry that people use. And you basically give support and help for people who don't understand the AI world or don't know how to build AI agents themselves. You give them basically to the support to very easily act and create AI agencies using your browser. Does that mean that you are constantly building AI agents? Is that the model and the focus area for Strawberry? Or what is the uh, product development? What is the innovation moving forward?
I would say that it's twofold. One is to make sure that we have a state-of-the-art AI agent, a general purpose AI agent. And the second one is to innovate on the interface. Um, and I think that both come with different challenges. Um, but I would say that we take them equally seriously, because we do want to make sure that we have the best agent on the market, of course. But we also do want to stick to our original um, mission of making it accessible, and there's so much to do on that front. Um, One thing that we are doing already on the kind of interface front is that we display the AI agents as 3D characters, which I think gives us a lot of room to kind of build on top of it, as if like they're living in their own little world. And so you can imagine that uh, like orchestrating your AI agents would be more like playing a strategy game, like a computer game, rather than something that you're used to in traditional software. So, but we still need to make sure that there's a familiarity to it, right? So it needs to be intuitive and it needs to be familiar. Um, so, so yeah, but going forward, I think you're gonna keep seeing some strong improvements on the agent front as well.
So I understand it's an AI agent competition out there in the market. Who has the best AI agents?
Oh, that's it's hard to answer because like you have kind of the vertical agent space where you have products that are um, where these products build agents for very specific workflows. That would be
Hmm.
something like your Lovable or your Legora or a Tandem Health. And so those guys are just doing a great job. Um, and then you have the kind of general purpose agent. But even there, different companies choose different approaches and choose to focus on different things. I would say that our focus uniquely has been to have the agents work on long running workflows. So uh, we're talking up to an hour or even more of continuous work. And I would say that we are definitely the best when it comes to that, as
Hmm.
opposed to something like OpenAI, or they're focusing more on, um, yeah, I guess short term, kind of like the agent just kind of clicking around on one tab at a time and not really multitasking in the same way. So it depends.
So speaking about OpenAI, did I get that right? That based on your launch, OpenAI created something similar. Was
Well,
it
yeah,
based?
yes,
Yeah. Okay.
absolutely.
Wow. Interesting. Interesting. So you are shaping the market.
Exactly. OpenAI was like, we gotta lock in on this. So 1 week later, yeah, no, they've been working on it for a while, and we knew that they were working on it. And obviously, that's a like strong validation of the market,
Absolutely.
um, saying that they're going in the same direction. But there's a lot of companies doing it, and we try to kind of stay focused on what's important for us and for our users, and not get too tied up into what other companies, what decisions they're making. Um, but yeah, no, I believe in the form factor very, very much.
Let me ask you a question about the global markets and your heritage being Sweden. So in 2025 or 26, you just founded a company that is basically agnostic from any borders, right? So your market is the global market. Is that how you build the company? Is that how you build the product? Uh, like, who's where are the people, the 15,000 beta users coming from? From anywhere in the globe? It doesn't really matter where you're from. You can access Strawberry once you're in open beta, right?
Yes, yes, I'd say historically we've been pretty evenly spread out between the Americas and Europe. A little bit of Asia, mostly India, but it's been pretty evenly spread, and we try to build a global product and global company from day one.
Yeah, interesting, very interesting. So let's talk about Sebastian, the founder. You already mentioned it earlier that you are on a journey since a while. You have tried out many things in the past, and now you have landed a huge success for the moment. I mean, the journey has only started, so let's not talk about a success right now, but it looks as if you are on the right path together with your Strawberry team. What did you learn from the last years that you actively or intuitively are implementing in your current journey, which just works out so much better? What did you learn?
Okay, so I would start by saying that like choosing what you work on is really important, I think. And so there are a few things that are helpful there. So number one is knowing your risk tolerance. And now I'm talking from more of a founder perspective. So understanding your own risk tolerance, and then if you've decided that you're okay with risk, which to me I'm pretty risk tolerant. If you've decided that you're okay with risk, then I would say take the biggest possible risk that you can and work on the most ambitious thing that you can, and and uh, yeah, but I mean, and the reason why is because people will want to help you more, and people will get excited about what you're building, and really, it's not that much harder. I'd say it's much harder to build something that no one is excited about. So that's something I've definitely learned when it comes to choosing. And I used to be much more just excited to work on any startup project. Now I'm much more kind of, I've realized that what you're working on does have an effect. And then when it comes to like practical day-to-day learnings, I think I I think that by being kind of all over the place in the last couple of years and trying a bunch of different startup ideas, I've learned to adapt pretty quickly. And that has turned out to be really, really helpful, not only when you're starting something new, but within a journey in itself. So, me adapting on a daily basis as a founder and adapting to how my role um, kind of continues to evolve, that has turned out to be a good skill to have.
Probably, especially under the circumstance that you are highly risk tolerant. Highly risk tolerant probably means that things might not go in the way you want them to go or expect them to go. So you need to be adaptable.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and I would say that that happens almost on a daily basis, that things don't go the way I want them to go, um, which is fine, I guess.
What do you do as a person to come to that conclusion? It's fine, and really feel it deep down, because you need to cope with it.
Yeah, so I think I can learn to, what would you say, like choose my battles. If it makes sense, I probably used to be much more get frustrated over very small things, and now I've kind of learned to see the longer journey ahead in a different way. So I think that helps a little bit of perspective.
Hmm. I almost hear you say that if you are a young person becoming an entrepreneur the first time, founding a business, you will most certainly fail because you lack experience.
Mm.
And over time, you build experience, and over time, you are more aware and conscious about your strengths and your, as you mentioned, conscious about yourself and what kind of risks you are able and willing to take. And then you might become more resilient also.
And there's a quote that I can't remember. I can't attribute it to anyone because I can't remember. But the quote is, "Action produces information," and I think that's helpful.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. And speaking about quotes, I recently remember somebody saying that um, she would like to see entrepreneurs be more bold in what they do. And you were just mentioning the same, basically, in a sense that I understood would be similar in terms of risk taking and building big things.
Mm.
Um, is that something maybe typical Swedish also, to think big?
Ooh, um, I don't know. For sure, we do have strong traits of individualism in Sweden, which I think helps with kind of the entrepreneurial drive that we've seen. But being bold, I don't know, maybe there's some Viking blood in there. Maybe. And yeah, but I would also say that being bold is also much easier when you have nothing to lose. And once you kind of started to progress, you I've noticed in myself like hints of being a little bit more risk averse, but then I've just had to remind myself that that's something I shouldn't fall into. So that's a temptation I'm fighting. But I think that's a pretty common thing, like that complacency comes with time and with progress, and I think staying hungry is probably a pretty good thing. And I also feel like we've actually, in the grand scheme of things, we've gotten absolutely nowhere. We're doing really exciting stuff, and we do have a lot of kind of tailwind, and that I'm really happy about, and I'm really proud of the work we've done. But we have so much stuff to do, so I think I don't want to get ahead of myself either.
Everything looks really good from the outside, from my perspective at least. And I'm really happy to see that. And I wish you and your team all of the success that you need, and the endurance and the power to continue this ride and journey. 2026 is going to be another hell of a ride. And good luck with everything. Thank you for being in my show, Sebastian. And talk very soon.
Thanks for having me.